Hello and welcome to Let's Play Rolling Line, Episode 1. Yes, the series has returned. Um, I'm playing Rolling Line again and it is feeling great to be back here. So, lots of people did want me to, were asking at least, when will Rolling Line return? I was like, I don't know, I'm waiting for inspiration, and then I also was waiting for time. So, I got some inspiration and I went back to the old map, the one that was in the previous episodes, and I looked at it and I was just like, this is very outdated. Lots of updates have come out in the time span from when that one was started and to now. And I was kind of looking at it and just thinking to myself, this is a very old map, and also some of the styles for detail seem very um, old. We're using that word a lot. Anyway, the detailing styles were a little outdated, I think, and I've grown a lot since making that map. Wanted to continue doing a rolling line map, but I wanted to do one that was A, closer to home, and B, I could do lots of updated detailing with and do a lot of scenicking. So I decided to go to one that's literally a short drive away. The NS tracks, the Norfolk Southern tracks that run through Northern Virginia and Fairfax County. So we are working on what is basically the VRE Manssas line, but is also the NS tracks, which were once part of Southern, that run from Alexandria all the way to Manssas and then beyond there. So we are starting today, right now, at Manssas, Old Town, or Historic Manssas, I think. Yes. Um, and we are currently starting with the tracks. Where you see me building right now is the little Bull Run. This is the Bull Run bridge that I'm currently constructing right now. We won't be getting to detailing that in today's episode. We'll be staying in historic Manssas basically the entire time. But I did want to include sort of a bit of a track at work extension. We might go here next episode. Depends on what we decide to do, or I decide to do at least. Um, I'm not sure, but around this bend is that's going towards Clifton, and that's not gonna. We're not probably not gonna get there for a while. Yeah, and these are the tracks extending around. I believe this is the furthest extent I get to them with the tracks today. Yep, and now we're heading back to Manssas. So the places we're gonna go along this route are going to be starting from Manssas, and then we're gonna go to Clifton, which is across the Bull Run, which is in Fairfax County, and then beyond that, what we're gonna do is I'm pretty sure I'm gonna skip out most of Burke, um, because we have Fairfax. Actually, yeah, hold on. After Clifton, we're gonna continue heading east, and then we're gonna reach Fairfax Station. Then we would reach what would be Burke now, and I plan on skipping most of that out. Burke's not very interesting. It's just woods and a couple of shopping malls. So basically, once we reach 123, we're gonna probably skip out practically all of Burke. I might add in Burke Center VRE. I'm not sure, but I know we're gonna skip at least most of it. I don't think we're gonna do both Burke stations. Not doing Burke Center and Rolling Road. And beyond that, we're gonna reach late a Cotink. I don't know how to say it, and it's like and you think I'd know how to say it. A Kotinik, a Kotnik. I don't know. The big lake where there's a really cool bridge that like goes overhead. So yeah, we're gonna end up ending there. And beyond that, who knows? Maybe I'll take it to Alexandria, because I did plan originally doing this in real life scale, going all the way from Alexandria to Manssas, and so I could do sort of like realistic freight operations. But then I realized that's a bit insane because that is like a huge map, and you never finish it. So I was like, okay, let's do something a bit smaller. Keep it in the same local area, but we're gonna do something much smaller. So yeah, we now have a selective compression route. So depending on how I feel and depending on how far we get, how fast, we might go all the way to Alexandria and even potentially into DC. But for now, I want to at least get to late Akotnik, or Akotnik, however you say it. But yeah, here we are currently just working on Manssas. As you can see, we have already completed the tracks and we have done some basic road laying. We're not going to do much in terms of building the town today. We're really only going to get to the station and to a couple of buildings right across the tracks from the station. Yeah, currently just labeling out what stops here. Yeah, Amtrak and VRE are the two services that stop at Manssas Station. Nothing else. Because the regional trains, Northeast Regional, stop here. And so does VRE. So now we're going on to begin a little bit of preemptive detailing. Sorry. I always start with the tracks, or the ballasts, I should say. The ballast whenever I'm working on detailing, because the ballast is always like a good thing to get out of the way first. Because you usually know where it's gonna go, and you can it's relatively simple. Because everything else ends up going around the ballast. So as you can see here, I'm trying to mess around and get ballast color. And on the other monitor that you cannot see, I actually have Google Earth open, Google Maps, sorry, open of Manssas. So I'm trying to actually recreate sort of what the color of the ballast is there. And yeah, here's me sort of trying to ballast everything. So as we continue ballasting, I guess there's not much to say other than we're gonna work on the station. Yeah, here we go, preparing the roads. Anything else to talk about? I do plan on doing Transport Fever stuff again. For anyone who's watching this and wants to see more Transport Fever, um, I'm gonna do this for the current being because this is what I have the most inspiration on. So if you're really into Rolling Line, be happy because there's probably going to be a lot of episodes coming, in the coming months. Because I plan on trying to do these weekly. It's basically during the week while I have school, I'll just be doing small bits of play whenever I have free time. And then during the weekends, I'll be editing and recording, which is sort of my planned schedule for the entire, for a couple of months at least, to do Rolling Line. So hopefully they'll come out on a weekly basis, though I doubt that's actually going to be happening. So it's my attempted goal, but it's probably not going to happen. I think it's safe to say that. So anyway, we have already come back to the build here. Currently working on the platforms, trying to see if they're around the correct height, because these are low platforms, not high platforms. So yeah, just seeing to make sure they're the correct height. And now we're beginning sort of to do some minor details around the station. Trying to do a little curve that you see here. That's actually a planter though, so I end up removing most of these things, most of the curving. More curving. Any little pieces of note. Anytime you see me pause for a little bit, that's probably because I was looking through Google Earth. Um, those, I was just going through Google Earth, and I couldn't be bothered to edit them out because there were so many of them, and it would have taken me so long, and it would not have removed any runtime from the video. Which, by the way, this is a little over an hour long in video. It's absolutely insane. I have no idea how I'm going to try and fill that time with commentary because this is the first time I'm properly doing commentary. For all the past videos, it's always been live play with either music time lapse that wasn't too long, but now it's oh yeah, it's all time lapse now. However, at the end of the time lapse, you will be able to get some cinematics. No intro though today because there's not much to go off of right now. It's literally only the station, which isn't even done, and some buildings right across the tracks. It's not going to make a terribly interesting intro, so I didn't bother curating an intro. Yeah, so no intro today, but doing some basic curbing. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see any how much of this you want to see. because being an hour long, this seems like a very hard to watch video, as it would take forever to go through, and it's just going to be me building. So I don't know what you guys want. Here's another pause. As I was speaking of with Google Earth, probably that's what I was doing. But it's a long video, and I don't know what people want. I don't know if they want super, super long videos, or if they just want something quick. I mean, I like super long videos because you get to see a lot of stuff and you see progress made, but you also get to see how I build stuff. But they're also really long, and watching just time lapses and me listening to me talking for hours doesn't sound like the best thing. I know I would not survive that, but I don't know what you guys would think. So yeah, please let me know what you want out of the videos. But this is the first one coming back. So you might have also noticed, last thing to say before we really start talking about the build, is the screen went black anytime I was messing around with the snapping. Just to let you know that I have no idea what's going on. I hope to remove that by the next video, but I'll see. It was very weird. I had no idea why OBS was doing it. I'm not sure if it was OBS or if it was rolling line, but there was no flashing on my end, so I don't know. So hopefully that's not going to be their next video, and it'll hopefully be a more uninterrupted experience with less flashing. So as you can see, we are already beginning some foliage, and this route is going to be set in the fall time, just like the last one. Seeing as it is fall outside, although it doesn't really look like it just yet, the trees are still pretty darn green. It is fall, and it's going to be hopefully really cool to recreate areas around me that are going to be in fall colors, things that I might not be able to see because don't travel often, can't get far on a bike, which is a really disappointing thing about living here in the suburbs, is that it's impossible to get really far unless you have a car, because everything needs a car here in the wonderful world we live in. Yeah, here we said, as I said earlier, about trying to redo this curbing. Redo. English is fine as usual. Redoing this curbing so it has a planter in it. How do I turn off notifications? Anyway, I did want to talk a little bit about the town of Manssas, but I mean, we aren't really working on it just yet. It's relatively boring what we're doing, just making a curve. It does take a while to do stuff though, like having to mess around with the F tool, just trying to get like it in the perfect position. Yeah, it does take a while to do stuff like this, and then you have to go through, turn off, toggle on and off snapping, and yeah, it's annoying. So I think what I'm gonna do is, for the time being, once I start construction on the station, I'll come back and I'll sort of start talking a little bit about what I'm doing there. For the time being, I guess enjoy some music while I detail little bits of the station, and then see you when we begin construction on the station itself. we have begun construction on the station, and this has been like the most difficult build, and so far. And this is only episode 1. This was insane to build. Getting the basic station building wasn't that hard, but building the roof, oh god, that was difficult. The roof is very how do I say this? Interesting or unique. It's not a simple sort of like two planes that sort of that are like two parts of the triangle, but instead it's sort of like there'd be 5 planes, and you'd have 4 of those planes dedicated to the roof. Because then you have one section that goes up at a slightly shallower angle. Then you have one that goes up at the most shallow angle. Then it reaches the pitch of the roof, and then it comes back down at a the same angle from the other side, and then it comes down at the shallowest angle, and that's sort of like the shape of the roof. And making that in rolling line was the most difficult thing I think I can imagine. I didn't even finish the roof for the entire building. I didn't even make the roof, the spire on the roof. The section we're working on here right now, this sort of like little sticky out bit, that's has a spire on top of it, and it is ridiculously hard to make with the current shapes we have in rolling line. We don't have any like isosceles triangles, so it was just really hard to make. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty good. I had to cheat a bit on the roofs for the. Oh God, where's the architectural term for these? Windows that are inside the roof, like they're inside the roof but they stick out. I can't remember what the architectural term for that is. Um, yeah, I didn't fully go through because they have a similar roof profile to sort of like the rest of the roof on the building, but I just could not do them, especially on something that small scale. I just could not do it. So it's not fully accurate of what the station actually is in real life, but I think it's a pretty good approximation. I mean, it looks really good, and it's definitely by far one of the coolest buildings I've built. But man, was it so hard. So you can sort of see us working on it right now. Yeah, okay. We cut there because I believe what I was doing there was doing senseless roof stuff that I all ended up deleting um, later because it was not good. Yeah, this stuff doesn't even stay as well. Like these little pillars. Yeah, I keep the idea of them, but I don't keep these right here. It was just too impossibly hard. Yeah. So currently trying to get the roof proportions right. It has a really big overhang, the roof, which is really cool. Lots of shade around the building. Um, Continuing trying to do that sort of diagonal thing. Eventually, I think I realize it won't work. Actually, I think I'm trying to measure it out this time. Okay, yeah. Eventually, I realized this doesn't work. Um, you will see me sometimes while working on this. You'll see like the roof be half done, and then I just get distracted and work on details around the station, like the windows and benches. That's because I'm basically through with the roof and really annoyed and just wanting to sort of do something else around the station before coming back to the roof because it's really hard. It was so hard. It seems so unnecessarily hard. I, I, we need an isosceles triangle. That'd be really helpful. I, I think the roof is also really weird because of measurements. I don't think it's even on all sides. So I'm pretty sure that did not help in any sense of the word um, in terms of making the roof be easier. Making the roof easier. But I got done at the end of the day. So yeah, here we go. This is sort of what I'm talking about in terms of like small distractions. Um, Here's an interesting thing, building technique that I did work on, though something you haven't seen before. Um, Whenever I'm doing windows, it's really hard to get them all even on the same plane. So what I usually like to do is I like to take a big flat piece, like um, the flat the flat square piece. I don't know how to describe that. It's a rectangular prism, but it's like really thin. It's not the cube. So anyway, I use something like that, and I'll just make it really, really big so it covers the entire area where the windows are going to go. And then you sort of lower it to the desired window height, and then you just place your windows on there, and hopefully you can get them lined up really well. And that's usually worked for me. It's not perfect still. Windows can still be slightly off, but it definitely works better. Um, it makes the windows much more even than previous builds. And that was something I developed on the sort of 50s layout. So anyway, as you can see, I'm currently working on roof stuff. I don't think any of this stays, except the pitch center. And I think you can kind of start to see what the roof looks like. So there's like, the part I'm working on right here is that much shallower part of the roof. And more notifications. God dang it. Anyway, that much shallower part of the roof. And then there's sort of like the normal pitch. And I'm trying to work on the other part of the shallow. But where these meet was a really big pain, part of difficulty. And here's what I was working on right now. The sort of windows that stick out from the roof. I don't know what they're called right now. And that's me trying to build them for the first time, not realizing that I'll basically get rid of all of those details later and start again with less quality. Yeah, here's me being naively thinking I could just use 2 roof pieces, but I can't control the pitch on these things, so yeah, it doesn't work. Uh, Moving on, I think this is me looking at stuff for the spire. No, this is just doing more stuff on these things. Okay. Yeah, none of that stays. As you can see right now, you can see the sort of mess of paints in the background for all my custom paints that I'm using right now. It's absolutely insane. There is a lot of paints back there. And it's really frustrating though when you have the glitch. There's like a weird glitch that if you leave the paint out for too long, it just gets stuck and you can't like right click grab it. And it's really weird. I don't know. I don't know when that came in because this is like me playing the game for like the first time in forever. But it's a very weird glitch, and it got kind of annoying when I was kept trying to grab a paint, and it would not go into my hand. So I had to copy it, use that paint, drop that paint, press R on the old one, and then I would be able to right click. What is it? Right click? Yeah, it's right click, grab the paints. So continuing to do more and more time-consuming work, realizing that I messed up the paint for these sort of windows. And the little sticky out windows, those also are the same sort of like stone color as the octagonal bit I'm working on right now. So those eventually do get changed. But that's after I delete everything and sort of redo it. More window work. Yeah. Nothing too terribly interesting. I mean, I guess I could give some interesting facts about Manssas history. Oh, okay, hold on, no. Hold the history. Now we're working on the canopy. So this isn't part of the roof, but this is like a canopy over the platform. And this is actually probably one of my favorite parts of the build because it looks so good and I put a lot of time and effort into making it look sort of as realistic as possible. It's not totally accurate because the pillars that support it, they have diagonal bracing on all sides, and I only put it on 2. But I think it still looks pretty darn good. It looks so cool, and I even went as far as putting a little detail of like a sign, because there's a sign on this thing at the end that sort of signifies the station name. And it's like a little red Manssas. And I went as far as putting that on there, and it looks so cool. You probably saw it in the thumbnail for this episode. Also, in terms of thumbnail, on the topic of the thumbnail, what do you guys think of that? It keeps the sort of same design that I had going before with the black letters on top, um, but it also adds sort of a new little thing, which the blue sort of thing in the bottom left, that's sort of gonna signify where we'll be working today, or on that video, not today. Bad English is being more and more apparent. Anyway, it will signify where we'll be working in the video. I think it's really cool. Since we're working right at Manssas Station, it currently has Manssas on it. And for places where we won't be directly at a station, like when we go to work on the Bull Run crossing, um, I'll make sure to. I won't have the little station, the station circle. Instead, it'll just be just a line. But what do you guys think of that? Does it look pretty good? And does it not clutter up the screenshot? Because I like it. But at the end of the day, I think I like everything just because I work so hard on it. I've worked hard. Another quick pause. As you can see, we have made great progress on the canopy. And there, you probably saw it just for a split second there. The little Manssas sign, which I just love that. It looks so cool. It's like taken straight out of the real thing, and it looks so realistic for it. I love it. I like it a lot. This is probably one of my best builds, I think. I just love it so much. The amount of detail I went onto this, and even still, I'm probably going to end up revisiting it. I probably really do want to finish the rest of the roof, and yeah, I do want to finish this. I do want to add some details to the roof and make it a lot more grimy than it is right now, because it looks pretty darn clean. But I want to go around a bit in like an episode and sort of put grime on the roads and make it look a bit more used, so it's not just like this big plastic news station. It actually looks like a used building, a used plastic station. Yeah, no textures on here though. So coming through here and moving the roof a bit over, so in a way to try and make the roof more equal. That did not work. Well, actually it did work, but I'm not sure if it made the roof position any more equal or more central than it was before. So progress. But anyway, this was on the final day of building, and this is the day when we finish most of the roof. And as you can see right now, I am working hard on placing the sort of lower pitched part of the roof. And now this was all recorded on Sunday, I believe, when the roofers were here. Sorry. This was done. All of this was done over the weekend. This video is hopefully going to go out on a Monday. But God dang it, Siri. This video is hopefully going to go out on a Monday. On Monday. And all this work, so all this video was done on Sunday and Saturday, with the bulk of it being done on Sunday, because roofers were there, and it was really hard to concentrate on school, and I couldn't do any voiceover audio because roofers were there, and I ended up building for like hours. I ended up getting 2 hours of work on Sunday and around an hour of working on Saturday. So yeah, this is sped up to three times. Yeah, 3 times sped up. So it was around 3 hours of work just put into the station. Mostly the station. And yeah, it was a ridiculous amount of time. So yeah, nothing much as interesting is going to be happening on the station for a while. It's mostly just going to be me doing the roof. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave again, and I'm going to come back when we start work on the buildings across the tracks. So that's going to be an interesting area. And then we'll, I guess, be done with the video after that, because I finished the buildings across the tracks, and then that's the video over. So yeah, you're almost close to the finish. Just a little ways to go. Welcome back to the look. I'm back now. So we are basically done with the station by now, and you probably saw me messing around a lot with it. Uh, it was a very difficult build. I said that so much, but it was truly like a very difficult build. Big payback, a big reward though. Um, yeah, there was lots of time where I was just messing around with roof design, and I did not have much success with it. Most notably on the spire part, that little like wireframe section you can see where I used sort of square pillar pieces. That's on that's the spire, and I did not complete that. It stays that way at the end of the video. It was really hard. So I decided to end the station now, and I'm currently working on sort of areas around the station, and eventually we will be heading across the rail tracks and building some buildings and sidewalks to cross there. Currently doing some bushes, however, these bushes will eventually go away. They're sadly not here to stay. Me trying to experiment with a sort of little ramp down, and yeah, that's where I sort of like. This is when I begin to realize, oh, that the bushes need to go away. And eventually, once we do the sidewalk on the other side, those bushes will be removed. So yeah, currently doing my standard road detailing procedures, doing some crosswalks, did a stop bar for the railway crossing. I did download some prop mods that will allow me to sort of curate. I believe I have a railway crossing sign, so I can put like one of those around here. And that sort of like tells people you're at a railway crossing. But yeah, currently working along that. I guess pushing the train around. The station build. Here we go. Adding an engine, which also leads to derailment for some weird reason. So yeah, I had some details around the station. Like there's the silver box that you can see on the platform there that has the flat top. I believe that's a ticket machine. Um, the one that had the slanted top, that silver box was I believe a newspaper box. Now we begin working on the gravel part. I put some trash cans around the place just to make sure people had lots of places to throw away their trash, which was quite um, frequent. There were lots of trash cans at the station in real life. You saw me work on that little like green thing there. I believe that's some sort of like information display thing. I don't know what its exact name would be. And yeah, I originally built it out of hexagon. Yes, hexagons. And then I realized, oh wait, it's squared. Oops. So yeah, I also put in a flagpole. I actually also put two flagpoles in. That little like brown thing that's sticking out the back, that also has a flag on it. But that tall one that has an American flag on it. Because of course you got to make sure everyone knows that you're patriotic, right? Yeah. Anything else at the station that's remotely interesting? I mean, I think it was pretty basic. You saw my many mess ups with the roof. You also saw me start work on sort of the canopy section and placing the pillars in there, and then I removed them, um, because it started. I cut. I did not remove them. I cut a bit because it started getting really repetitive, and I didn't think you would want to see me doing the sort of supporting pillars along the entire thing. So there's a small cut there. Anyway, we are now currently moving across the rail tracks, and we are working on buildings on the other side. So we are now actually working on the Old Town Manssas part of the project, and we are working on that sort of reddish, pinkish building in the thumbnail. So we are currently working on its foundations. Its occupants in there are two grills. Um, there's a Foster's grill where they have sort of the alfresco dining right here. That little like those gray fences. And there's the alfresco sort of outside dining for Foster's Grill. I think this is me realizing that there needs to be a sidewalk crossing here. I think so. Yep. And here's me frantically realizing that I actually need to push everything back so people can like walk across the tracks, which is a really important thing. Um, yeah, it's really important that people will be able to walk across tracks. Here's something interesting. Do any of you know about something that features that include the update, like where train pieces that weren't inside where you're editing, like don't get a like you can't snap to them? I think that's actually a great feature, but I discovered it and it was really annoying when I was trying to sort of snap those sidewalk pieces to the road, and they just would not snap. I was just so confused. Then I like hit edit train and then it worked. I'm just like, okay, that's new, because that was not something that happened uh, last time I played this. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's an update. Anyway, yeah, that was me adding the sidewalk. The crossing buck is also in the middle of the the sidewalk, which is like that in real life. The crossing buck is just literally straight on the middle of the sidewalk. It's really weird. Um, I mean, you walk basically across the road. You're walking across the road when you cross. Yeah. And this is like what, the most pedestrian friendly place in Manssas? Because we're working in historic Manssas, and this is sort of like the older town area, railway suburb, I believe. Head north a bit, you'll reach the battlefield. But this is Old Town and the city of Manssas. And this is like the only walkable part of Manssas. The rest of it is just suburbia. Boring, boring, boring suburbia. Which is, I mean, Nova in a nutshell. But, like, we won't be seeing much of that, actually, in here. Fine enough. This route does not go through lots of boring, boring suburbia. It actually goes through lots of interesting places. Again, the most boring part of the route, I think would be Burke, between Akotnik and Fairfax Station. It's just like, yep, there's a road, industry and strip malls right next to the tracks. Nothing interesting. Yeah. So I begin work. Beginning work on this sort of area behind the little hedge row, and this is sort of like the Foster's Grill. Inside the building that the Foster's in is, I believe, there's another grill. I don't remember the name of that. Not sponsored by Foster's. Um, this is just like the only one I remember because it's like a name brand. There's like another location near me. But no, this video is not sponsored by Foster's. So currently working on those building facades. They have a really interesting thing of like white topping, like a white panel. I do eventually go through and change the white on these. I use my sort of off-white paint on the top sections of the building because it was way too bright. Because all the accents on this building is white and they're very bright. So I eventually went through and sort of took the top section of the building, which you don't see right now, but the roof, the sort of decorative details on the roof, I made them my off-white instead of a full white, just to make them much more easier on the eyes and less bright. But the windows and the trimmings, the wood trimmings that are around these windows do stay white. And this, in terms of the entire Old Town Manssas, we have this building and the little building in the back of it, and that's basically all. That's like the only building we do in the entirety of Old Town Manssas. So hopefully, maybe next episode, maybe not. I'm thinking next episode we'll be working on Manssas, and then the episode after that will be heading to the Bull Run and doing the bridge there, which is gonna be fun because I can't wait to work on some creeks. Because that's gonna be a lot of fun. I love my water features. Because I put a lot of work into the water. The missing episode of Rolling Line, because there was supposed to be an episode 4, but then it never happened because of video editing software troubles. I basically spent the entire episode building a creek and a bridge over it. Um, the entire episode. Um, yeah, I really like doing creek builds because they're a lot of fun. You get to mess around with water and try and make it look as realistic as possible. Plus, creeks are always fun because creeks are good. We have lots of creeks in our area. Lots of them, which is a great thing living in Nova, is that there are basically creeks everywhere. Most of our parks are creek parks where you basically just walk along the valley that they're in. It's great. It's great. Nova's great, but it's also bad. It's a weird place. Working more on the sort of Old Town. Actually, in terms of Nova, this Old Town Manssas, if we're going to talk about Nova, is like a very rare thing here because this city of Fairfax, like the old historic district of city of Fairfax, and Leesburg are like the only places that actually have good sort of old town urbanism, except maybe Alexandria, but that's on a much bigger scale than Leesburg, old city of Fairfax, and Manssas. This is basically a rarity in Nova. Um, there is not a lot of sort of good old town walkable urbanism here. There's plenty of modern, uh, new urbanism happening here. Would it be new urbanism? I don't know, like the transit oriented development stuff that we get with Metro. But proper like old towns, those are far and few. There's a couple of other sort of old town areas. Vienna isn't really one. I don't consider it because it's just a bunch of parking lots. Herndon, Herndon does have some old town buildings, but it's relatively small. Falls Church doesn't really have it. Um, their old town definitely seems to have been like entirely eliminated. I think it's just been built over. Trying to think of other old towns. I guess Occoquan does exist. Yeah, historic Occoquan. Yeah, there's not a lot of like good walkable urbanism. But the route we're taking here generally has a lot of this sort of good walkable urbanism. This is sort of like the biggest sort of small town area, and then the next place we'll be going to sort of town will be Clifton, and that is a really great place. Uh, None of these sort of side by side brick buildings like you get here in Manssas, but lots and lots of historic houses. And Clifton's never going to change because it's in the middle of a resource conservation district, which basically means for indefinite time that it's just going to be a bunch of mansion homes. Fairfax County, gotta love it. Um, big dumb oversized homes. Huh. Yeah. So we're working on one of the fun areas, and yeah, we'll hopefully end up finishing all of Old Town Manssas at some point. I love this building facade. It looks so cool. A lot of work went into this. I really like it how it looks. Really, actually gives me Manssas vibes. I'm vibing off Manssas, but it's like this route is based in real life. So most of our towns are actually gonna have buildings taken from real life. I know when we get to Clifton, I've already actually kind of built a lot of the houses in Clifton for another sort of map that you guys never saw, or at least I never did a video of, where all I did was sort of build. It was a 50s, 60s map where we had street running, and I did for the homes because I didn't want to do modern like Levittown homes for the time because that would not make sense in a sort of small town uh, for like a small town because they would not have Levittown homes as part of their historic district. So I was going to use sort of older single family homes, not like ancient, but like no row house, not a lot of row houses. There was a brick built main street, but there wasn't a lot of row houses. It was basically just small homes surrounded the main street, which had street running in it. Anyway, but many of the houses took inspiration from the homes in Clifton there because they were basically what I wanted, which was older homes, older sort of single family homes built out of wood and such. And it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. And so I already have a bit of experience when it comes to building the buildings in Clifton. And it's going to be super cool when we actually go to Clifton because that area I know really well. I've been there quite a few times. I can't wait. Although, I will say, I need to figure out a prop situation because there's a Norfolk and Western caboose. I don't know if there's any cabooses on the workshop. I might have to scour the workshop a bit. I've already scoured it once after doing this video, and I found some pretty good stuff. Like after recording all this, I scoured the workshop, but I think I'm gonna need to go back and scour it again just to get some more assets, some more stuff. And especially, I really want to get that Norfolk and Western caboose because that's going to be really helpful in terms of making sort of Clifton feel like Clifton. And if the caboose does not exist, all right, I'll just wait. I'll just use another one. Um, yeah. There's another caboose. Speaking of cabooses, there's like cabooses everywhere around here. There's a caboose in Clifton. There's a caboose at Fairfax Station, which is a southern caboose. And those are just off of the same line, right? Because Norfolk and Western had track rights, and they had the ability to run trains up here to DC along Southern's main line, not main line, but like Southern Railways tracks to DC, which were along here. So you have a Norfolk and Western caboose at Clifton, a Southern caboose at Fairfax Station, and then at Vienna they have a Washington and Old Dominion caboose. So I swear there's like a black market of cabooses for towns. Yeah, great. More notifications. Anyway, there's like a black market for cabooses. You know, all the towns are trying to get a caboose for their town. Be like, hey, the train needs to stop here, and then they just have a caboose to memorialize it. There's just like there's so many of them. Um, there's no caboose here, but the cabooses are mostly at places where trains used to run. Vienna, Washington Dominion don't run there anymore. That's gone. Um, Fairfax Station. The station was literally moved away from the rail lines and is has a caboose in front of it. And then Clifton, there used to be a depot there, like a station depot, not like a railway depot. And yeah, that's not there anymore. So if there's a town that used to have a train stop there, they basically seem to hunt for cabooses. But yeah, that's not Manssas. Manssas doesn't have a caboose. They actually have train stopping here, so they have no need to memorialize their cabooses. Anyway, yeah. That was a weird rant about cabooses, but as I refocus my attention, currently working on the sort of only building we get to today, which isn't even done. There's like stairs on the side to get to the second story, but we'll work on that on another episode. But currently working on it. It has 2 stories, 3 tenants in it. The one on the far right, if we were to look at the front, which is the brick facade. A small one in the center, and then one big one on the far left. So yeah, you can see how there's like 3 doors. Those are the 3 tenants. Yeah, not much to say about this. It's a pretty basic building, but it looks really cool. I love the side view when looking at it from the train tracks. It looks really good. I really like the way this turns out. I can't wait to continue to build this. I really want to see Manssas expand because that's going to look really cool to have sort of a fleshed out town. And yeah, we're going to do at least some of Manssas. We're not doing all of Old Town Manssas, but I'm thinking I want to do the 3 streets around the station, and then 2 streets back. So there's going to be another street like on the building side, then another block of buildings, and then another street, and that'll be sort of like the largest extent of what we'll have for Old Town Manssas. So anyway, we're about done. I do have cinematics at the end of this video, nothing really interesting, but I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been great to come back here to Rolling Line. I missed it a lot, and I hope all of you are excited to see more Rolling Line videos. Since it was always something that got asked a lot about, like, hey, when's the next Rolling Line? It's just like, I don't know, whenever. So, and it's finally coming back. Yeah. If you like the video, I guess you can like it. And if you really, really like the video and you want to see more, I guess you can subscribe. But that's up to you. I will say the one thing that did motivate me was reaching of 100 subscribers, which is just insane. I have reached 100 subscribers, and I hadn't even uploaded anything for like 6 months. It's ridiculous. I swear I broke the system. Anyway, I believe that's it. Yep, cinematics are rolling. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.